Good morning, my dear students. How are you doing? For today's class, I have prepared the following. I want you to think about how the atmosphere modifies the climate on the Earth and as a consequence, the weather in short time. So then the rotation and differential heating of the Earth has a major effect on the circulation of the planet's atmosphere and therefore climate. If you think about that statement we copied our previous class, let's pass to the next class I have planned for today's. So I wanted to observe the following graphic. So observing that one, I wanted to, as a board work in this moment, describe one specific example of life modifying the environment. In the example I'm proposing, I just put some humans, right, modifying some of the environment for their specific functions, in this case, which is having fun or stuff like that. They have modified this portion of the beach for recreating or for making, as you can see, some specific activities like swimming or stuff like that. See, they remove some of the rocks. They put some specifics there, and as you can see there, right? So no, in which place normally there is not supposed to be a beach, they remove the rocks, making some sort of a lake, or in other cases for preventing the water to enter the place or the beach, or to just erode some of the sand there. In other cases, this is a clear example. So what are you going to do there today's class? You're going to be able to explain how life is correlated with the environment. Just something to think about. If you finish the board work, let's pass to the other part. So I am proposing two graphics in here I want you to observe. Think about how the environment and life has been related or correlated during time since life started. Remember, we started to study the origin of the universe and the origin of the solar system and then the origin of the earth and so on, so on, so on. If you think about it, I wanted to observe or pay attention to the following. In terms of the graphic, I'm going to magnify this so we can study it in detail, okay? Think about it. So, as you know, right, life began on the earth about 3.8 billions of years ago, so on and so on. So life takes, life takes, let's say, resources from its surroundings, from wherever it is, whatever it is for as a resource. It also life modifies them and then uses them to replicate itself. So in doing this, life modifies the environment also, either by modifying chemicals or modifying structures in the environment directly, or by adding chemicals from waste or through decay after death. See, a living thing dies and produces carbon dioxide, maybe some methane, and so on and so on. And also that modifies the surroundings, causing some other reactions to occur. So the modification of the environment produces this new conditions for the evolution of life. And as life evolves, so does the environment, because as the changes I said, so forcing more change upon life. So this reciprocal influence, right, is termed or called coevolution. Coevolution. And it is a common phenomenon in biology. It's amazing to study that part. One example is that the species of yucca plants, I wanted to take that into account. The yucca plants, you know those. So these ones are only pollinated by species of yucca moths. What's a moth is a polilla, a specific insect, but that one is only for yucca. So they are correlated. See what I mean? So in earth science, another example is the formation of the Earth's atmosphere by early photosynthetic organisms. So the atmosphere existed because of the formation of the first photosynthetic organisms, and that produced oxygen as a waste product, the oxygen we have nowadays. See what I mean? So in the exactly, yes, in here, as you can see the relationship, for example, we had at the beginning of the earth, you're observing here, the ocean formation, then the first fossils organisms, and also then you can see how it continued evolving for the first life. Then some methane rich appeared, and as a consequence, oxygenic photosynthesis, which also caused the great oxidation because of methane and the photosynthesis, right? All of them together. And the great oxidation happened at the sexual reproduction in eukaryotes, living things, and also then the second oxidation, neoproterozoic glaciations, which also caused the cell differentiation of eukaryotes, right? And then the muscular plants, big ones, right? Cambrian explosion. And then there was an oxygen peak and carbon dioxide drop, which allowed the plants to grow that big, like the big ones or the big leaves. If you go to the Amazon region, you get to see these amazing leaves or these amazing trees and stuff like that because of the immense amount of oxygen concentration, and that produced, as you can see, the oxygen peak, the megafauna we've got these days. Also, another thing I want you to observe in here is like how this is a mangrove, a picture from one of those in the coast region of Ecuador, in which there's the river, and the river is connected to the sea, right? You see sort of fresh water with salty water, and they unite. And the places we unite, there's an amazing part which is no living, no plant at least are supposed to survive there, but mangroves do. They have adapted through years, right, to this specific environment. Right, if you get a chance to see, if you go to Cojimías, which is a really a beautiful place for observing these mangroves, you're going to, wow, yes, the mangroves are there. They absorb the nutrients, they trap the nutrients from salty water and also from fresh water, and they survive there, right? And also they prevent erosion by the waves and stuff like that. Okay, if you understand this, what is the activity I wanted to do? I wanted to move your thinking from logical to critical. From logical to critical. We just started the logical, now let's move to the critical. I wanted to use this Ishikawa diagram, Pescado that one, to explain cause and consequence. What are you going to do? I wanted to use that one for describe how life we know, causes the environment to change. How life causes the environment to change. Remember, talk about cause consequence as the graphic I showed you before. And also, I wanted to use that graphic for explain how does the environment allow for life to evolve? How environment allows the life to evolve? Think about it two once and then complete the fishbone diagram, okay? So for today's class, my dears, I wanted you to get is the following. So that the earth and life on earth, both of them evolve together. So life modifies the environment shapes the evolution of life. If you think about that, complete the graphic. So what are you supposed to upload to the assignment? Finish the board work and the Ishikawa diagram, which answers the two questions there, cause and consequence. Okay, my dears, that was everything for today's class. And basically, I wanted to finish your task for today. I will see you.